Hey, man. All right, so we had a Viking meet and greet back at the end of October. We think it may have been October 28th. It was on a Sunday. I'm not going to go back and look at the calendar. We never brought you a recap from that meeting. So that's what this is. This is a recap. We did have a little meeting where I talked about the hike we did right after the meeting, but we didn't talk about the meeting itself. And it was a really neat meeting. Obviously, you know, Pastor Fox and Sister Kate showed up from Viking Preparedness and Shofar Mountain. And obviously that was pretty exciting. So we got some clips. We're gonna show those clips here in a minute. But just a quick recap: the Atlanta area Viking meet and greet is an umbrella group that just meets periodically to try to give opportunities for people to form relationships with other like-minded people. If you're familiar with them through Pastor Fox's channel, then you already know more about them and what they're kind of all about than what I can tell you about. But this was one of them. We're going to have another one shortly. We're working on, so the organizers are working on something pretty cool, so stay tuned. This first clip we're going to see, we're going to save the Pastor Fox clip for last. We're going to see Sister Kate first. Everyone was talking about their not everyone, but people brought their bug out bags and were sort of sharing their bug out bags with everyone, and a recurring theme that came up was weight reduction. And Sister Kate had a great idea about weight reduction. We were talking about food and how much food weighs and how much food you can carry, and she had an idea for a low weight, high energy food. So we'll let her tell you about that.
Just a suggestion, because you guys are talking about food and 9 pounds, 18 pounds for y'all to carry it. I had this conversation earlier with some of the people here already. I did some research into high calorie, lightweight food that you could put in your bob so you're not having to drag the 18 pounds of rice and beans around. Chia seeds are tiny little seeds. It's not cheap, but like a half cup is enough calories for a person for an entire day. So it's like 5,000 calories for a half cup of chia seed. And you can eat them the way they are, but a lot of people put them in a liquid. So my idea for that was just a chicken noodle soup powder. And then you're going to be drinking water anyway. So if you just heat your water up, put those in it, boom, you have enough calories for the entire day, and it weighs nothing. The other thing you can get is some granola, loose granola, 1,100 calories, half cup. So if you want a little extra flavor, lightweight, throw that in your water or not, make like an oatmeal thing. Much easier, and it'll take up less room in here, and it'll get you all the calories you need for your bob thing. I'm not saying do it for 6 months. I'm saying your 3-day run or your week-long trip to somewhere. That's a way to cut down on weight and get all the calories you need. The other suggestion was the water is really important, and these are really awesome, and your filtering is really important too. An alternative that's cheaper, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with you, so don't get me wrong, but in lighter weight for you, it's just the plastic bag, the gallon Ziploc plastic bag. You can go get your water or carry your water. If you're getting it out of a puddle or whatever, use your straw that'll filter it and drink it out of there, but you just roll it up and it can be in your bag. So that's an alternative to a bunch of them. Just have your filter thing and your bag to gather it if that's one of the things you plan on doing. And that's it. That's all my suggestions. Thank you.
All right, then we're going to hear from the Prepper Librarian. Prepper Librarian is a member of what Pastor Fox now is calling a crew. You've got the Viking meet and greet groups. Below that, he wants us to work on developing crews. The Prepper Librarian is part of my crew here in Northeast Georgia. Those are geographically close people. The Prepper Librarian, you've seen him in some of our videos before. He's a high energy, intense guy, and he talked a little bit about priorities and prioritizing things for your bug out situation. I do want to say I didn't get as much of any of these as I would have liked to have. I was sort of bouncing back and forth between filming and trying to play host and corral children and whatnot. So not that I was the host, but I was trying to help out with the hosting duties. So I didn't get as much of this as I would have liked. But here's the Prepper Librarian on bug out priorities.
Take care of you. You got to have a gas mask. They're not expensive. You can get them for 12 bucks online. Okay, so you got to have clean air, and you got to have your blood flowing without oozing out all over the place. All right, you can live for 3 hours without shelter in a harsh environment. So we got the solar blankets, we've got rain gear, parka, anything to keep you warm in a cold place, or figure out how to keep cool in the shade in a hot place, because you do not want to get your body temperature out of whack. You can live 3 days without water, so I got the little filter you were talking about. I've got a couple of them. And you can also boil your water, and you can do some other things. Water is going to catch up with you a lot faster than food, so I don't carry a lot of food. For one thing, food can be found. You know, you can either hunt or fish or forage or farm, and all of those methods are available in this kind of wilderness out here. And if you've got the necessary items to help you hunt and fish and forage. Now,
and then finally we heard from the man himself. Pastor Fox didn't speak for as long as I think anyone would have liked, but what he had to say was, of course, as you would have expected, right on point. I missed the first part of his talk. He actually talked first, and I didn't even have the camera when he started talking. I had to go get the camera from Mariah and get rolling. So I missed a lot of what he had to say. But this little clip is a unique perspective that I've never really thought of before. It makes sense, especially in light of some of the things we heard about citizens' interaction with law enforcement during Hurricane Katrina. So he talks a little bit about maybe why you shouldn't use military surplus gear or military style gear. We'll let him tell you about it himself.
Let's picture law enforcement doing their job. There's chaos reigning, things are going on, and here comes some dude or dudette looking like a guerrilla militiaman or whatever. They're not going to like that, right? And they're probably going to relieve you of that stuff at a minimum. And so if you could just take like a blue, you know, whatever the team is, Tennessee Titans or whatever, windbreaker, you have to make it big enough so it fits over your gear, and then you're just polite and you're yes or no ma'am, you know, whatever. Same thing with these bags right here. With, you know, you got your mags on, and I get that. If you could get like a gray rain cover, you know, like a tire cover thing, and you just put that over it while you're going, now you just look like a regular guy going, right? And there's a difference, and tactical people and many cops are tactically minded. There's a big difference between something this color and something that's like mossy oak.
Right.
You know, mossy oak camo looks like you're a hunter, right? Okay, well, everybody here is a hunter. I mean, you know, we all go hunting. But when you start wearing tactical gear, it starts making them think about you. And so it's just something to think about. It's like hiding your bug out status.
All right, man. So there you go. That was a few little highlights of the last Atlanta area Viking meet and greet. There were about 32 people there, I think was the last count I heard. That included children. And of course, the presence of children is always the sign of health of any organization. Anytime you go somewhere and there's children making noise and being irritating, that usually means you're talking about a healthy group of people. So, admittedly, most of those children were mine. But Palmetto Paratrooper was there, and he had, I don't know, he probably had a half dozen of his own. And there may have been a few more, but I know Palmetto and I both had our children there, and it was very, very encouraging to see. What else? There was a hike afterwards. I called it a field exercise. Everyone else thought they were going on a hike. We have a video up about that. We'll try to post a link to it. Pay attention. We got a bigger, more comprehensive trip coming up. I'm not entirely sure when it's going to be. We're going to scout out the location for this. It's going to be a camping trip, so we're going to scout out the location probably next weekend. And hopefully we'll have some more details here for you soon. It's going to be an overnighter. It's going to be camping. There may or may not be some patrolling. We're not entirely sure about all the details yet, but that is kind of the direction we're looking at. So we're going to have more of these, and of course, obviously the point of these is to form smaller, more intense groups. What Pastor Fox is now calling crews. I just saw this for the first time on his Patreon this weekend, I think. Where he sort of defined these terms with group, crew, mag, team, and tribe. obviously the ultimate goal, in my opinion, is to form tribes. But I think Pastor Fox has got the idea right. I'm not sold on this crew term yet. Sorry, the neighbor's working on this chicken coop. You know, when I think of crew, I think all the hip hop guys with their crew going to the club. But I get what he's trying to say, and it's an important concept. And I think it's one we should all be working towards. Anyway, that's it, man. We appreciate you. Thank you.